You know, I always forget this. Hello and welcome to Footy Judge Mo, people. This is the Liverpool review. We'll see why Liverpool are underdogs in this league. Why every Liverpool fan is not having a chest other than Mike Das. Other than Mike Das, who's saying they're going to win the
Ah,
league, of course. So big up everybody that joined us, of course. If you're here, hit that like button. We'll talk about Klopp's replacements because apparently Alonso isn't going to Liverpool, or is he? Amorim is. Someone said today that they already approached him. Is it going to be Amorim? And also, I wanted to discuss with the guys here: is there going to be a downfall for Liverpool? Are they going to take a step back? Are they going to be behind Arsenal and Manchester City for the coming season or two until the new manager build a new team? And also, we're going to talk about, which is, I think, one of the most sensitive topics for Liverpool fans, is who's gonna leave if Klopp leaves? Well, Klopp is leaving, so is it gonna be Mohamed Salah, Van Dijk? Is Trent actually gonna go to Real Madrid, as Mike Das told us that he should go to Real Madrid,
What?
unless he doesn't play in the midfield? That's what you said. Don't
No,
lie.
no, I
That's
did
not
not
what you
say
said.
that. I did
We'll
not
talk
say
about it. I'll
that.
get your
are we
opinion then.
starting off like that then? Come on now, what are we doing?
This
That
is
is
but listen,
disgraceful.
people,
He's
hit
planting
that like
seeds. He's
button.
planting seeds.
Subscribe to the channel if you're new, of course. If you're watching this on the replay, you have to like the video before you go on because you're in for a great show. This is gonna be fantastic debate. We're gonna be joined by Jerry James. Rack is here. I think he's just doing something in the background. I don't know what he's doing. But how is everybody feeling today? Premier
I'm
League
making tea, man.
international
I'm
break.
making my tea.
International break is 10 minutes away from being over. 10 minutes away. And I decided to do a Liverpool show because Brazil and Spain almost over, people. Almost over. And we're just going to talk about the Premier League again and the Champions League. April is going to be packed for you people. It's going to be packed. We're going to be here on Footy Judge Mo. Shows every day, afternoons and evenings, mornings and nights for you if you're in America, of course. How is everybody feeling? Mike, how are you feeling?
I'm excellent, man. It's 70 degrees. It's sunny here in California. Nothing to complain about. Football around the corner. Spring around the corner. I know that the UK is about to have daylight savings time, which means that you get to play golf a little bit later. So yeah, I mean, there's absolutely nothing to complain about.
How are you, Roms? How are you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm bored. I'll stay honest. I'm very, very bored. I'm bored of internationals. I want club football to come back as soon as possible. And watching England is a chore, man. It's a chore, but I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad I didn't watch the game, to be honest, because the game wasn't televised in here in America. It was televised, but you have to pay. So I have to pay to watch England Southgate in a friendly
No
against
shot.
Belgium.
No shot.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for that.
You chose no. You chose to do that. You chose to spend your money or waste your money on Gareth
I didn't.
Southgate.
I didn't pay. I didn't watch it.
He didn't.
Oh,
I didn't pay.
oh, you didn't. Okay.
I
Pirate.
actually
You
didn't.
pirated it.
I actually didn't
Fine.
pay that. Ah, come
Good
on.
choice. Good choice.
Anyway, let's start with the first question.
Can I
Are
just
you
say
guys underdogs?
I don't like that term. I don't like
Never.
that term.
Never an underdog.
Never.
I think City are favourites. I think I'm happy to. I don't mind saying City are favourites, and I think that's the. Anything else would probably be seen as more of an extreme view. I think the bookies will probably have City as favourites. I think most pundits will probably have City as favourites at this point. But we are there, and you know, if you're gonna get past us, then we're gonna make it as difficult as we can for you.
Mo,
Yeah.
I said this to you on the show the other day.
Yes.
The only way to look at it is Arsenal are the most informed team when it comes to what they're doing currently over the last 6-7 games. City have won, I believe, City have won for the past few years, and they won a treble last year. And then you have Liverpool, who are 3 points off of where we finished last season. But that doesn't matter because we have won the league in recent years, and we have finished second time and time again. And not to mention, objectively speaking, we have the easiest schedule from here on out, right? And we also don't have to worry about Champions Leagues. So I don't think that we're underdogs, but I also don't think that there's a favorite. I think that realistically speaking, each one of these teams has just as equal of an opportunity of winning the league. It's just that who is going to actually get it over the line and who's going to get the job done. And so if you say that Liverpool are underdogs, all you're doing is covering your ass for if they don't win. And then you can say, but you know what? We weren't the favorites, so it's okay. You're basically trying to just throw on a veil and void yourself of blame rather than speaking with chest and saying that we're going to win the league. And if you don't, whatever, at least you gave it a go. If that kind of makes sense.
In my listen, Liverpool are favorites just because of the fixture list. However, what the Premier League did was putting Everton just in the middle of the game, just made it very, very hard for Liverpool. I'm looking at Man City and I'm thinking now Stones is injured, but they have enough. Is KDB back? I don't know. Arsenal play Manchester City. A lot of people tell me that Arsenal can get a result against Manchester City. If Arsenal win against Manchester City, I believe they become as equal to everybody else, probably as equal to Liverpool, and City fall behind. However, looking at this Liverpool team with the players coming back, Trent, Alisson is coming back. I heard Jota is coming back soon. I'm thinking, yes, Liverpool can win this title. The question would be for Rams, if Liverpool don't win the title and Klopp is leaving, is that a failure of a season?
It's a difficult question because if you asked me at the start of the season, I would have said Europe. If we win the Europa League and the League Cup, is a pretty decent season. I think that was what we expected. I expected us to win both teams. I expected us to get top 4. Simple. But new information gives you new perspectives, as I like to think. The fact that we were top of the league, and given the fact that we were top of the league during our most difficult period when we had our injuries and we played players more or less out of position, and we sort of crawled our way to maintain top spot for quite a bit of that during that period. I would say, given the fact that we were in those positions and we're still in the race, I think it is. The fact that we were still first when we had the likes of Szoboszlai, Salah, Trent, Jota, and players like that, Alisson, players like that out for such a significant period. And to know that we ended up not getting the title in the end, I think it will be very disappointing. I think in the grand scheme of things, it was a little bit of a failure. We got to call a spade.
Does it make a difference that he's leaving at the end of the season at all?
It will give a really, really. It will be really disappointing at the end of it. We always, every time someone that's going to leave, that's done such a big thing for us personally. I know for all of us, he gave us our first league title. He has such a profound effect on us. We want the best, and we want him to ride off with his trophies in the bag. So obviously it will be a very disappointing experience, and it will be a bit of a letdown given the fact that we were, it was almost a possibility that we could win all of them, and we only end up getting a Europa League and League Cup back to the prediction that we made at the start. It would be very, very disappointing, 100%.
You guys thought he thought about himself, Jurgen Klopp, just announcing this when?
Yes.
You guys think that was just selfish?
No, because if you don't have the capacity to be a manager of a
what I mean, announcing it and making the decision now, do you think that was selfish from him?
I think it would have been worse if he said at the end of the season. What was that? End of the season's done, and he's like, "Oh, guys, I'm leaving." It's like that would have been a bit worse, a bit more of a bitter pill to take. I think saying it during halfway during a season, I'm not too bothered about it. I think it gives the club a little bit of time just to settle with the fact that he's going to leave and plan for what we're going to try and do ahead. You know, I have no qualms with him doing it when he did. Like, I don't think there was a better time. I don't think there was a worse time. I think that was just it was if he wants to leave.
To be honest, it was unfortunate. Me and Mike actually did a show that day, and I thought that he was forced to do it because it was going to be late, right? And I think that put more pressure on Liverpool, to be honest. Unnecessary pressure, to be honest.
But we didn't have a handle.
I don't know, Mo, because I felt as though we strived under that pressure when he first said it, because we were winning football matches. We were playing very good football. That's
but
what
look at most of the conversations
but
now.
the only
of
thing
the
is,
media.
like,
Go ahead.
I know people have said about this whole it was going to be leaked thing, but basically we're just guessing that's the case, right?
Yeah, we
don't
are.
really know. We're speculating on something. I don't think it's reasonable to speculate on that. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Who knows? But I don't understand how anybody can say I think it was about to be leaked.
Do you know why,
no
Rax, we say that? So, do you know the answer why?
But you agree there's no evidence to suggest that it was about to be leaked, right?
Yeah, nobody said anything.
It's just
but
a
you know
guess.
what? But you know why we guess that? Because otherwise it would be stupid. Otherwise it would be idiotic.
I don't know about that.
Other managers
Well, what do you mean by
have
idiotic,
announced
then?
him leaving before the end of their
Okay, so the difference
the
between
season.
him leaving and, for example, Sir Alex Ferguson when he was leaving is Alex Ferguson, there was no pressure on him to win that league that year. My problem with Liverpool, and you guys don't see it from your side. I see it from my side, looking from outside.
Alex Ferguson did it twice.
Yeah, but but the difference is
First time he decided he was going to leave, and then
when
changed
was that?
his mind.
2005,
2002 or something like that. Maybe
I thought it was when Mourinho
But
came
you guys have
through.
to understand the difference. This is just rivals fans talking, and the media are talking about if this guy, everything. Okay, the other day I did a video about Talk Sports, right? And I showed it to Hassam, and it's this guy Danny Mills. He's talking about Liverpool time Klopp time at Liverpool, and just think about it logically, right? The guy has won one league title. He's about to leave. He's a legend for you guys, for Liverpool fans, for the club. He changed the culture of the club. But for everybody outside, they're looking at him. It's like, you're the guy that just came and challenged and won one league title, and you should have won more. You reached 3 Champions League finals. You won one against Spurs. So you have to win the league this year to be considered Klopp and Pep era. If he is not leaving, and just let me tell you how it works and how I'm thinking about it from outside. If Jurgen Klopp, it wasn't announced, and I'm being genuinely honest, right? If Jurgen Klopp didn't announce that he's leaving, if Liverpool came third, nobody would have cared. Nobody would have said anything, by the way. Nobody would have said anything. If you fall behind in a title race, for example, right? If you fall behind in a title race, everybody's going to say, yeah, your tenure has been a failure in terms of like trophies in comparison with the opponent, which is Pep Guardiola. You should have won more, especially if Arteta is top of the league. That's the narrative that is running. And in social media era, it's all about narratives, right? We sit and talk about narratives. We don't talk about, oh, he has been great for Liverpool fans. Yes, he has been great for Liverpool fans. But at the end, the media, the players listen to the media. Everybody's going to tell these players, you have to win it for... Already they are telling the players, you have to win it for Jurgen Klopp. Already they are telling them this. It's not me. It's everybody else. Klopp's farewell parade has to have a Premier League in it. So the pressure is there. You guys disagree with what I'm saying?
Oh no, but there was always going to be pressure when a lot of fans realized, because I think I've realized it. Funny enough, I realized that we're going to be challenged for the league title when we lost against Tottenham. But when people started to realize, after Christmas, after New Year's, that we're still first and we're going to be there no matter what, I think that pressure already was set in stone that we got to go and win this league title because Man City don't look the same. That was when Arsenal had their bad run of form. We've got to win this. This would be a great opportunity just to add one more for Jurgen Klopp's CV and also for the club. But I think it was, even if there was going to be pressure upon it, I think if you look at the timing in terms of when you're going to tell people when Klopp was going to leave, I don't think there was a better time to tell, because it would have been a very, very bitter pill if he said it at the end of the season, being like, by the way, guys, I'm going.
Exactly.
It would have hit
I
a lot
disagree.
worse.
I disagree, man.
Really?
I disagree.
Go ahead, Jerry.
I disagree. Big up.
Tell the people.
How we doing? No, I disagree, man. I think.
Can we get to at least? You guys are like, you're freeloaders, 250 people who aren't even on 100 likes. Can we like the video underneath the live chat? Go ahead.
I called them the freeloaders.
Because it's free. Liking the video is free. It doesn't even. I'm not even asking for super chats yet. We're gonna ask you super chats. At least like the video because you're watching for free. How hard is it to do it? It's not tough.
I hear that.
Your thumbs are like hurting.
Maybe people are watching on the TV. Maybe it's just a bit more difficult. Maybe they're just sitting back, relaxing.
I do the stats. There's 3% that watch this channel watching on TV.
But,
so.
but before you guys go, Rack, are you eating tea and biscuits at this time? Bearing in mind it's 10:30 in the evening in the UK.
Yeah, well,
man.
Tea and biscuits.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
There's no bad time for tea and biscuits.
Exactly.
There is always a right time. It's called tea time.
But someone in the chat was saying it's masala chai, and it is actually masala chai. So big up, man.
Yeah, I brought back chai when I was coming back from England as well. Go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, I disagree, man, and that's not. I just think I definitely agree with the fact that it puts more pressure on the club as a whole. And yeah, maybe Jurgen Klopp doesn't feel that pressure. And I think Jurgen Klopp he doesn't care. He's not looking at it as though I have to win the league now or whatever. He's just like, I'm going to do as best as I can. But the fact that he said, look, even from back end of last season, I wanted to leave. But me and Pep Linders looked at the squad and said, oh, we can't leave the squad in disarray. We can't leave it in the situation that it's in. Him telling everyone I am leaving now. I think there has to be some sort of like and self-analysis or some awareness to say, you know what, if I go and make a statement like this, although I don't want it to be about me, it becomes about me, and the importance of what we're doing now is heightened. So Carragher even spoke about it, everyone's spoken about it before, where, you know, him announcing that him leaving, it's now become Klopp's title race. In previous season, it might have been a player, it might have been someone else. There's no real standout player when we're talking about this title race this season. It's like, can the players do it for Klopp? Can they do it for Klopp? And now that he's put this pressure on us, it's not only the players, fans alike are looking at it and they're like, oh my God, we need to go and win every single game. Every single game's a final. At the beginning of the season, and even as you said, Ram, up until January, I was still a bit like, and I was on shows of Mo saying, you know what?
It's a rebuild. You always use that.
Yeah, it's a rebuild. We'll see. I mean, we're in a great position. I mean, if we can win it, great. But we're not the favorites. We're not the favorites. But the narrative changed into now Liverpool are now are en route to go and do it, and they've got a reason as to why, and this kind of fairy tale story emerge. Now, it'll be fantastic if it happens, but if it doesn't, we would have to look at where did the pressure start to. Do you know what I mean? Kind of amount on and kind of put pressure on Liverpool as a club, and I would say it's when he went and obviously announced it.
I totally disagree with this. I totally disagree with this because you're viewing it from the negative perspective of we're putting too much pressure on, and what happens if we fall short. Whereas the opposite of that is Klopp is trying to galvanize the team, right? And we didn't drop form directly after him making this announcement. I would rather address the bullet wound when I'm first shot than wait, a week to get it all sutured up. You know what I mean? Like, Klopp leaving is a bullet to the heart of every Liverpool fan. And I would rather have that done and dusted over very quickly, get it out of the way and move forward. Because regardless of whether or not he's leaving, the pressure is always there to compete for the title, right? And if anything, you can make the argument that this only galvanizes the players even more to want to win it even more, to get the extra mile out of them. Whereas if they didn't know that he was leaving, maybe they would look back and say, I could have given maybe like 2% more. Maybe I could have just given a little bit more. Whereas now...
Well, put it this way. I think it's I think the players were aware already from November. It was stated that Klopp was leaving, so the club knew and the players knew that Klopp was already leaving. From what I understand. Now moving. Can you guys hear me? Sorry.
Apparently, only the guys from FSG knew that he announced it to the players on the day. That's what seemed to come out.
Okay. Well, from what I read something else saying that the players knew from beforehand. They weren't putting this in the situation where they found out along with the fans. I was made aware of something else. But regardless, the way I look at it is, of course, you can spin it on that narrative and say it galvanizes the team. But for me, when I look at Liverpool, when they did go and win the league, it was the one. And when you go and look at how we did it, it was the one season where unlike the Champions League final in 05 with Steven Gerrard, or even this season, there wasn't this kind of, and of course that you can look at certain games where we had that, but the season itself wasn't built on this overriding emotion of we've got to go and win every single game. When you go and look at the way when we won that league title, it was just efficiency. It was game after game, we just win to the point where we're 20 points ahead everyone and we're just still winning. That mentality is what Man City have adopted, and it's the reason why they win multiple leagues year in, year out. They don't go and rely on the fact that, yes, I need to go and make an announcement of me leaving to galvanize the fans. Do I mean? And one last time, and again, I think that fits the narrative of it being, again, a fairy tale type of narrative. But what happens is that when you've got a high of emotion, it does always come with a drop, with a low, because you put so much energy into it. I mean, looking back, that Carabao Cup win, that was so emotional. It felt like, I mean, Rax, you said you were in tears. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. For me, I was like, oh my God, but that was the Carabao Cup. So if you're and I felt like that, Rax. But if your aim is to go and win the league, that's you need to kind of postpone that and have that maybe a further down the line where you can go and kind of ride that wave until the end. What you don't want is for that wave to die down. And we're not really speaking about Klopp leaving anymore. I don't feel like there's this overarching kind of emotion surrounding Klopp leaving. We're now kind of, yeah, we know Klopp's leaving. We're all talking about the next manager now. You go on social media, everyone's talking about the next manager. For me, you need that stability. And I would have personally, I don't see Klopp leaving as this kind of, if he tells us at the end of the season, all hell breaks loose and Liverpool aren't prepared. If Liverpool know he's leaving from beforehand, they can already start planning and doing stuff behind the scenes like they've done with player signings and so forth. And fans can just come to terms with it later down the line when we've gone and potentially gone and won everything. And of course, we're speaking hypotheticals because we could still win the league and none of this could matter. But if we don't, I think we've got to look at the reasons why, personally.
This is the thing, right? To some extent, this will all come out in the wash, and depending on how things go, people will analyze it post the event. If we win the league, then people will say Klopp's announcement galvanized us to winning the league, and if we don't win the league, then people will say that it gave us some momentum, perhaps, but ultimately, they'll make up a negative narrative. And so the only way you can really judge it is how you're doing right now, because post-analysis is also not necessarily fair, because
True.
we could win every game up to the rest of the season, right? And City could, apart from one, say we draw or lose one game, but for the next 10 games or however many games, we win them all. That's an exceptional run, an exceptional record. But City just do it that little bit better, or Arsenal. I mean, I think if City do it, I would, to some extent, I could kind of hold my hands up and say, okay, City are City, right? If Arsenal did it and we came second, it would hurt a bit more, because yeah, but not because I don't like Arsenal. It's just because we've always seen City as our rivals, our main competition for us. We've never really considered Arsenal to be our rivals for the league. City are the team to beat. And if we go ahead and beat City, but then don't beat Arsenal, that will be tough to take, I think.
But the one thing that the only other counterpoint that I'm going to make is Rack, I totally agree with you. But what I'm not going to do is sit here and say that Klopp's announcement is going to be the reason why we didn't win the league, because ultimately,
I don't think so either.
Yeah, because the most logical thing to say, the reason why we wouldn't win the league would be the 4 PGMOL apologies that we had, the Odegaard handball, the Pascal Gross not being sent off, the Spurs game, right? You literally have 4 instances in which the PGMOL had to apologize for you for making a mistake, not Klopp leaving. Literal, I mean, listen, these things happen. I'm not trying to make that sort of narrative like, oh, we were robbed of these points, but I'm just saying that would be more credible than saying Klopp leaving, announcing to leave, destroyed our momentum, and is the reason why we didn't win the season. Like, I don't think the argument's that it destroyed Liverpool's momentum, and I definitely agree. There's in point blank period, if we don't win the league, it's because we weren't good enough to win the league. Simple as that. That's the way I go and look at football. But when you go and look at the nuances and
what could have made the difference? And you go and look at the intangibles in football, because those make the difference. You could definitely look at those reasons as to why Liverpool may have gone and maybe had a burst of momentum that saw Liverpool win the Carabao Cup and go on this high where we were beating teams, even though we may have not necessarily been playing well, we're still able to go and get a lot of results. If we were to go and have a dip right now, I would potentially look at that logic. I think any person would look at that and be like, if you could have just postponed that a bit further down the line and had this 10-game stretch where you're winning a lot of games, what could that have done later on down the line? But again, it's hindsight, because we may have then not won the Carabao Cup, and we may have just been, we might have sacrificed that as a result. So that's what I'm saying. I think, of course, the season, if we don't win the league, we don't win the Europa League, we just haven't been good enough to. Do you know what I mean? And that wasn't the goal or my goal for Liverpool at the beginning of the season anyway. But I do look at stuff like that and think, you know what mentality shift would that have for the players? Of course, there's a narrative that it motivates and galvanizes the players, but some players will look at that and be like, oh, I've come into Liverpool, and I came here on the basis that Klopp is going to be the manager. He's going to be here for the next couple seasons at minimum. Now he's leaving all of a sudden. It changes the dynamic. If you've worked in a company and the CEOs, you assume the CEO and your manager that you're working with and that you've got a good relationship with is going to be there for the long haul, and all of a sudden says he's leaving, and you get a new manager coming in.
So that brings me to the question, Rack. Did this player join Liverpool for Liverpool, or
possible that?
No, I wanted to continue on this, but I wanted you to answer this question because it was asked. Did you think McAllister, Szoboszlai, and the rest of them joined Liverpool or for Jurgen Klopp?
So I think he joined for Jurgen Klopp. He said it himself.
Look, you can't separate Klopp and Liverpool during his tenure. So one of the shining reasons, or probably the biggest reason, maybe not the biggest, that does the club a disservice, right? Because Liverpool is a huge global club, but a huge part of that would be playing for one of the best managers in the world. No, how many players who've played for Liverpool during Klopp's tenure have come away saying anything negative? Almost universally, it's positive. Yes. When you hear that as a player, as a professional, of course that's the motivation. You want to play for one of the best managers, if not the best manager in the world. So, that's understandable. And what Jerry's saying is right. Sometimes when you have a big figurehead step away like that, especially say for Szoboszlai and McAllister, they may think, God, I signed up for Liverpool expecting to have 3-4 years with Klopp. Oh, he's leaving already. Should they be professional? Should they continue at their same high level? I mean, there's nothing to suggest. The way McAllister's played, for example, this season, there's nothing to suggest that he's dropped off and that's had an effect. But in the back of the mind, they're human. These things are conceivable.
Jurgen Klopp leaving. So, who do you guys want to replace him ultimately? Let me do these two super chats because one of them addressed me. Are LFC really great? Are LFC really great under pressure? Whenever we have been in a title race in the Prem era, even under Klopp, we have fallen short. Only title we won, we cakewalked in the 1920s. Though thoughts, it pains me. By the way, he's a Liverpool fan. Not only in the final against Real Madrid twice, you fell short. And I'm not knocking down Jurgen Klopp. It's not on him. It's just a fact. Do you guys think that, looking at this, the only title you guys really won, there was no pressure? You literally walked that title. Didn't you have 18 games winning streak, if I'm not mistaken?
No, we did. But again, there was pressure because we had to be that good in order to win the league.
All right.
It wasn't.
But there was nobody pushing you. There was nobody winning a week before you or winning a day before.
We came back 3-0 against Barcelona without Firmino and Salah.
But also, Mo, we won 17 games in a row.
Yeah.
Drew 1 against Manchester United, and then we won 18 games in a row.
Yeah.
Out of 36 games, we won 35. That kind of form has never been seen in any professional football league ever. Certainly not a top 5 league. 35 wins out of 36. You won't see in that. That's like 106 out of a possible 108 points or something crazy like that. I'm sorry, but you can, regardless of whatever, I understand people will pull out that narrative, but any team that goes on any kind of run like that in a top league is the best team, without doubt. It's got nothing to do with pressure.
Yeah, but the 2 times you were under pressure, you fell short, and it might not be because of you. It might be because City were better.
Well, this,
I
this,
got
this,
also-
to say the
we
two.
were also
I
chasing
think,
City.
I think
the levels
21,
By the way, it's
22.
not me. By the way, it's
But,
No,
yeah,
but the
the
levels-
people like to
the-
go on the
it's
go.
not
Right?
me. It's a super
I just
chatter.
want to say the level. The thing is, the levels we're talking about with City and this era are completely different to almost any other era, right? In terms of consistent wins, consecutive wins, you don't see any of the teams in the 90s and the 2000s do anything like this. I think the closest was Mourinho's Chelsea team. I think they got 93 points or something like that.
Yeah.
Like
Conte's team got 90 something.
Look, if you fall off, if you fall off even a small amount, falling off nowadays, having a draw is seen as a disaster. Back in the day, you could afford to lose 5 and draw 10, and you could still win the league.
Yeah,
it's just a different level.
I get what you're saying. Okay, Nilut Pal calling me out. He's saying, Mo, your agenda against Klopp is really horrendous. How many times you have said the same thing? And for all those in the panel, Jerry doesn't appreciate Klopp. He said he wished Pep was the manager. Number one, Nilut Pal, I don't have an agenda.
That's out of context. I think that's
I'm gonna let you respond. Nilut Pal, I appreciate your super chat, but I have no agenda against Jurgen Klopp, right? Me stating a fact doesn't mean I have an agenda. Me asking the tough questions. If we come here to in this panel, imagine the show is being Jurgen Klopp is one of the greatest managers. Congratulations, Liverpool guys. If you don't win the league, it's all right. Everything is okay. By the way, Jurgen Klopp is one of the greatest managers. There won't be any show. We'll just leave. Right? We have to ask the tough questions because we have to get the answers out, Nilut Pal. Or you want just me to come here and just, oh yeah, everything is great. It's fantastic. It's Greenland. Oh, it's spring. No, it's not. It's not gonna be like we have to ask the tough questions because this is what makes a show, Nilut Pal. Just to be honest with you, this is what makes a show. Philip is saying, Filippi, Mo is a corrupt fraud trying to steer the trouble. I am. Okay, I am.
That's what happens when you're
That's his job. That's his job.
I don't know. A corrupt fraud means I'm a good guy.
A good guy.
Double negative.
I mean, I'm a good guy.
Double negative.
Yeah, if I'm a corrupt fraud, I'm a good guy then. No, people think that I'm trying to steer trouble. I just ask the tough questions.
Yeah, because you love to sit on the fence, man.
But what Jerry's saying,
Not the fence.
If you
want my opinion, you might not like my opinion. By the way,
of fraud, you're corrupt. So you just need to say one of them. Don't say fraud.
I do. By the way, I do a lot of shows when I do a lot of solo shows and I say my opinion completely. Do you want my opinion?
No.
Jurgen Klopp didn't underachieve. Jurgen Klopp achieved what he can achieve against a machine and a manager that is the best ever we have seen in a league form. It's called Pep Guardiola. Nobody has ever in the history since I've started watching football has created a system that is so efficient in league titles like Pep Guardiola, not even Alex Ferguson. As Rack said, you could afford to draw games, right? With Pep Guardiola, you just can't. You have to win. It's a win or it's 2 points dropped. Pep Guardiola has created arguably one of the best systems we have seen in the history in terms of league titles. You literally have to get 90 plus points every time to win the league. So that's my opinion about Jurgen Klopp. Has he underachieved? No.
Yes.
But can we consider him as good as Pep? No, because he hasn't won as much as Pep. Because he hasn't created the system that won him 6 league titles or 5 league titles in England.
No, but this is where you can say he's underachieved because even you don't need to even take into account league titles. You could talk about just trophies in general. The trophies that Jurgen Klopp has won in his time in England, it could have been more. It could have been more. Because we won 7 trophies that he's won in 8 years. Like, I'm just saying we could have won one. The finals that we went to, some of the trophies we kind of binned off at the early stages. I'm like, if only you would have put more emphasis on them, maybe we could have done a lot better. But
so he should have gotten 98 points out of City or 99 points. He should have not drawn one game.
I said not to mention the league titles. I meant other cups as well, Mo.
It should have won maybe one more Champions League, but yeah, it is. But again, I wouldn't judge him on a game when freaking Ramos literally intentionally took over Salah's shoulder. Like, well, Salah had arguably one of the best seasons we have seen in English football ever, right?
Rodri's arm against Everton.
BIG. Mike, you're really coming with a narrative that you're really a victim mentality, and this is not you, bro. From the beginning of the stream, you're really putting out, I'm a victim. Liverpool are victims. The referees and all this stuff. You're literally doing that. BIG is saying, if you consider all the games we drop points except Arsenal away, we have always had the goal scoring chances to win. It's not crazy. It's 10. It's not crazy to 10 out of 10 if clinical.
But the problem with this, right, is it's a positive slant to analysis. Look at the Crystal Palace game, right? Crystal Palace away. Palace were much better than us throughout the whole game, and until the 83rd minute or whenever when their player got 73rd minute or whatever, and their player got sent off, and then we scored 2 goals and won. But we were terrible that game. Palace were much better, and they had several chances to win the game. So we just need to take these things into account, because I understand we will look at it from a positive Liverpool slant, but sometimes you need to look at it more broadly. The Palace game for me, it was a crazy one. We could have very easily lost that game.
I was there live, and it was shocking to watch. It was
really
sentiment was shocking to watch.
So has Jurgen Klopp underachieved? Does anybody think that he underachieved with this team? Should have one more?
Maybe another league title.
I think
Champions League.
I think but the thing is, shit happens, right? That game against Atletico Madrid, right?
Happens, yeah.
That game against Atletico Madrid, I think arguably that's Klopp's best performance. That Liverpool performance against Atletico Madrid was incredible. The number of chances we created, we absolutely annihilated them, and they knocked us out
because of Adrian.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
That's football.
Because when I look at it, right, I hold Klopp to the end, obviously to the highest regard, regardless of what my thoughts were last season on him managing us or not. And I did say he was tired, right, and that he couldn't go and do it anymore. The players that we've had as well, like when I look at some of the players, at one point Mane's the best left winger in the world, Salah's the best right winger in the world. We've got the best.
Firmino was arguably the best false nine around in the world.
False nine, exactly. We've got Alisson is the best keeper. We've got the best right back, the best left back. Do you know what I mean? The best captain. Everyone was the best. Yet we didn't do what the best do, which is win. So technically, I'd have to be honest and just say I think he has underachieved, because based on that, I can't say on one hand that at one point we had the best players in every position, because that was what I was saying and spewing to everyone, saying that we've got one of the best managers in the world, yet then look at it and be like, oh, but actually we couldn't win because of City and because of Real Madrid and because they're just better than us. I can't use that narrative. It's just we've underachieved. Like, there's certain games where, if we had got that result, and look, it's fine margins, but you underachieve, isn't it? It's like being at university and the difference between a first and a 2-1. There's got to be a mark somewhere, isn't it? And there's loads of people every year that get 79 points and they need 79 marks and they need 80 marks to get that first, and they end up getting the 2-1. And you could argue they underachieved if their goal was a first. So yeah, man,
we should have won more. It's literally just that simple. We should have won more. We should have more trophies. We don't. That doesn't discount what he has done. That doesn't discount what he has given. That doesn't discount the transformation that we've had over the last 9 years. But it also will never change the fact that we should have had another Champions League, and we 100% should have had another league title. And we had 2 seasons in which we fell off of a cliff and we had to rebuild from, right? Like, when you see great teams, that shit doesn't happen. Manchester City don't just fall off of a cliff, right? Like, maybe they finish second one year by a few points, but they don't just go from winning the league to being the top of the league to then overnight fighting for 4th place and needing Alisson to come at the dying moment of the game and score a goal with the header just to qualify for the Champions League. So arguments can be made for both sides, but it also doesn't discount what he's done.
Nobody, by the way, nobody can discount anything that anybody has done. I don't know why people think that when we talk about someone underachieving, it's literally what Jerry just said. You have the best players, you have the best, you're considered the best coach. Just win more. This is it. It's as simple as that. It's a simple as that. Nilal Pal is saying, Mo, what did Mike said is incorrect, Mo. I'm gonna tell you. My problem isn't, like I said, Jurgen Klopp might have been one of the unluckiest managers ever with small details and small decisions going against his way. The problem with Mike, right, is that he mentioned it already 2 times on the stream. Like already. And it's going to be another 3rd time.
I'm just being facetious.
It's like when you say 115, I'm like, okay, you mentioned it once. Okay. We can't just, because this is just cannot be your go-to answer to everything. Oh, by the way, the referees robbed us. Yeah. And it's not one game, it's a league. Yeah. We'll see how it is. Listen, this is guy W's for my guy. Gagandipoir. If I hope I said that right.
Gagandipoir.
You butchered that, Mo.
I'm sorry. Gagandipoir. For the super chat. W's, guys. Wallahi, W's in the chat for my guy for supporting the channel.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. He's saying, yes, City are fantastic. Not taking anything from them. 115 charges yet to be found.
That's straight away. You take something from them.
He literally did. He literally did.
By the way, 115.
Call me in November. Call me in November 2025. That's all I gotta say.
Okay. But did we do enough in the transfer market? Leaving us a player short, stubborn tactics, meaning we drop points, reactive approaches.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Klopp is the reason why we finished 5th last season, and he's the reason why we didn't go after more players in the transfer market. And if it were up to Klopp, we would have signed Götze and
Julian Brandt.
And Brandt.
I won't have stand on Julian Brandt. I want us to stand on
Listen,
Julian Brandt or Salah, pick.
Exactly. It is. The thing is, honestly, so like from a top-down perspective, you can say that Klopp is underachieved, but also if you want to view it from the other side of the coin, what you could say is how much of the lack of investment was down to Klopp and how much of it was down to FSG. And like, it's just simple. Other teams spend more summer over summer than we do. And after we won the Champions League, after we won the Premier League, why did we not drop 200 million? You're telling me that Liverpool FC, one of the biggest clubs in the world that has the 4th highest revenue on the planet, also I believe there's only 11 teams in world football who even break a profit year over year. Those are last year's statistics, not this year's. You're telling me that we don't have the money to invest in more players summer over summer over summer. So there was some sort of barricade there, and I don't work for Liverpool, and I'm not behind the scenes, so I don't know what that was. But yes, there were many shortcomings that may or may not have been a direct result of Klopp. But you can easily make the argument that why the hell did we not sign a midfielder 2 years earlier? Why did we not sign a center back when Van Dijk went down? Why did we let Ozan Kabak and some dude who I've never heard of again be our 2 center back pairings at the back 4 while top of the league? It doesn't make any sense. So there are multiple sides to this coin, but then again, we don't know the answers because we don't know who's the real reason why none of this happened.
I tell you that, Mike, the one thing that I will still have a lot of smoke for Klopp in that season because he didn't do his due diligence. You sold Dejan Lovren, which may or may have not been the right decision. I really couldn't care. But you sold your 4th choice centre back and you decided to get a backup left back and didn't address that position again. That was a big mistake that man made. But the one thing I would not slate him for when it comes to January transfer window, those were the cards that he was dealt, because he did come out and say, look, I've asked for the owners and I've asked for the board for some money to get a proper centre back in. I can't really do any much more. So,
can I raise a question? Go ahead, Go ahead.
Just about that. So, like when it comes to COVID and stuff like that, I've kind of been more understanding of the fact that we haven't always spent money because I kind of understand. Like I have my own company during COVID when there was lockdown and all that kind of stuff. My company was basically losing money every day because we couldn't operate. But we still have our overheads, still have your outgoings and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of understand it. What I don't accept, though, is that when other teams are out there spending money and you have an option, because English clubs were kind of on their knees a little bit financially, but the teams in other countries were really, really feeling and they're still feeling the financial burden of COVID. Like, they lost hundreds of millions of pounds, and there were opportunities out there. Sometimes you have to speculate, even in a market where you don't have money, because there are bargains out there. You can't always just be prudent all the time. You need to take some risk. If you're in business, business is about taking a risk to some extent, and just playing it safe all the time, I don't think is right. So that's what I will criticize. We should have bought a centre back or made more of an effort to do something centre back wise that summer, but that winter window. But I mean, we had 3 centre backs, and all of them disappeared for various different reasons. Yeah. We all know, even if we just had Virgil van Dijk, you just see him. Van Dijk can play with anybody. You look at all the numerous partners he's had: Lovren, Matip, Gomez, Konate, all these young players he's played with, Kwanzaa this season. His level doesn't drop. If Van Dijk was ever present that season, we would have won the league. But unfortunately, we lost him, and it is what it is.
Players leaving. Do you guys think that within season or two, players will leave, or it depends on the coach? I have heard. So we were on the stream and with Mike the other day, and we're talking about the links of Trent going to Real Madrid. Do you believe if Liverpool don't win league title, for example, you hire Amorim, you get top 4, you start getting top 4 next year, the year after.
Hopefully
do you believe players leave? Do you believe that players leave?
Oh yeah, that circumstance that you came up with, where it's we finish 4th, we finish 4th again, and we do it again and again, and we're not. But that's really
4 years. I'm talking about 2 years. Players came to Liverpool to win, right? The likes of there are a lot of players that came to Liverpool to win.
Yeah, but I will say though, when it comes to obviously, because we're going to talk on Trent. We are. If we're speaking on him specifically, I think someone like a Michael Edwards would not sell him, especially with the fact that Mo Salah, there's a high chance that Mo Salah will be leaving, because I think apart from Mo Salah, Trent is our most highest shirt sales person. If you go, I mean,
really, I didn't know that.
I think
I wouldn't have think that. I would have think someone like South American, like Diaz or
I think
McAllister in Argentina or something like that.
I think it's Trent who's second behind Salah, but I think there's a big discrepancy between Salah, because Salah's way ahead, and then is the others.
Salah's global.
But I don't think someone like a Michael Edwards would allow him to leave, given the fact that 1, he's homegrown and he's one of the best homegrown players we got, and 2, there's a giant marketability available, and we like to think of FSG as people that want to focus on making profits. He is one of those players that can help drive profit because of the amount of marketability that guy has on him. So if you look at it from a purely financial and marketing aspect, I don't think Edwards.
Wouldn't you think the player would want to leave then? So what you're saying is that they would prevent him from leave. So you are. What I understood from your answer, Rams. What I understood from your answer is that he would want to leave.
No, I never said that. I only talked on the perspective of the board and the owners. I've only talked on that perspective.
I don't think Trent wants to leave.
I think personally, there's two perspectives. There's two perspectives that Trent might have. There might be a perspective that he would want to go to Real Madrid.
He could have said he wouldn't want to go.
But there's a story
about the ownership stopping and closing the door because of marketability and all this stuff.
No, I'm just giving
He literally did that. He could have said, by the way, Trent is Liverpool through and through, and he wouldn't leave. Story's done. He's the one who
walked right into it, Rack.
Bro, he's the one who opened the door for this.
Mo goaded you into that answer.
No, I want to give. I gave exact reason, because I want to bring up the whole, what's it called? the marketing aspect, because people love to talk about profit and all that shit, but don't want to talk
we weren't
about
even
that
talking
sort of
about
perspective.
Trent yet.
Look,
He
honest,
said it.
like-
He said it knowing he was going to move on to it, and you just allowed him.
I don't care. I don't care.
Worms.
Might as well start talking about him now. Just start talking about him now, because Mo wanted to get our opinions on
Grant,
it.
is that your first time here on the channel?
No.
All right then.
Trent's not leaving, so this conversation doesn't make any sense.
But
Why?
Trent,
I
think,
don't like this notion
Okay,
of like Trent is not leaving.
listen,
Trent is
there's-
not leaving.
look,
Is
there's
that,
far
you know
more
what Mike is doing?
about
You're saying the stuff
Trent.
that makes you sleep well at night.
No,
That's it. You know what I mean?
you okay, you cannot sit here and give me a constructive argument as to why that would be an attractive position for a player of his age, where he's from, what he has done, the position that he's in, the stature that he has at the club, the potential future that the club could have, where we are in the league right now, the players that surround him. Does he want to be the face of Liverpool, or does he want to go to Real Madrid and sit behind Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius, Endrick, Jude Bellingham, and every other white shirt? Because honestly, if Trent goes to that team, he's like the 8th biggest star, the 9th biggest star, the 10th biggest star. He is not the person who is pulling in people to Real Madrid. Now, you could say, honestly, if his motives are to go, wear the all white and win as many Champions Leagues as possible, I don't believe that that's the kind of person that he is, based on the character that I see from him on the pitch and off the pitch. Maybe, he's a great actor and he could go do that, but it doesn't do me any good. And I'm not gonna think that way based on my beliefs on who I see him. And it doesn't make any sense any way I look at it, logically speaking, that he would go there based on who he has been from the beginning of his career to now, and all of the other circumstances surrounding Trent Alexander-Arnold. That's why I say he's not going anywhere.
if people want to talk about legacy, what's stopping Trent from arguably being the greatest ever Liverpool player to ever play for Liverpool? Maybe that might be one of his ambitions.
Yeah, Trent is not going to be the greatest ever Liverpool player.
Right.
Yeah,
We never know. We never know. We never
Yeah,
know.
The greatest
say never.
ever Liverpool
Never
player.
say
As a
never.
midfielder, he could.
I think Trent would have those
don't
ambitions.
No, look, put it this way. I look, I don't think he's going anywhere. But the argument that there's no logical reason to go to Real Madrid, I don't get that at all. People said about Bellingham. People said that about Bellingham. Oh, Bellingham's not going to go to Real Madrid. What's he want to go? He's going to go to Real Madrid and what? Be behind Camavinga and Tchouaméni and be second to Modric. They're probably going to sign someone else. Then they're going to sign Mbappe. Look what he's gone and done there. Look what he's gone and done there. And that was Liverpool fans thinking, a lot of us thinking, you know what? He's probably not going to have that massive, that big of an impact. Whereas you're looking at him right now, he's probably one of, if not the biggest star in football in terms of shirt sales, in terms of just a young player. Do you know what I mean? Look what he's doing at Real Madrid.
Or the 11
Trent, if he looks at
Vinicius Junior at Real Madrid, seriously,
exactly.
Real Madrid fans.
Trent,
yeah, but
if Trent, and I agree. I think the type of mentality Trent wants to go and be the best. Trent, anywhere he goes, wants to go into a club and say, I'm going to establish myself as the best. He won't settle for being 8th, 9th best player at Real Madrid. So if he goes to Real Madrid, it won't be on the premise of, I'm just going to sit back and be a Danny Carvajal, do you know what I mean? Or the replacement for Danny Carvajal and just do my best to just support this team. He's going to want to be the main man. He's going to want to be on set pieces. If he was to go to Real Madrid. Now, I'm not saying I see him go in there, but we've got to be realistic. There's a logical reason to wanting to go to Real Madrid, especially considering with Liverpool right now, you don't know what direction they're going with, because if Klopp's as big of a factor as Liverpool fans like to go and say at Liverpool, then you don't know whether, a manager might come in, and as Mo said, we might be finishing 4th all the time. Heck, there might be a manager that comes in and just like some fans or just like some rival managers will look at it and say, I don't really fancy Trent at right back. And is he my type of midfielder? I'm not too sure. I prefer an X type of midfielder, and they may want to go and play that type of player. You don't know what manager is going to come in and where they see the future of each individual player at Liverpool. So to go back to your original point, Mo, I think when we're looking at players, I think there will be a lot of players that leave, come and go and change, because a manager is going to want to have his own ideas and want to have his own footprint on the team. So in 2-3 years' time, of course, he's going to want to have that team built in his image. There may be a couple of players that are still there, but some players will probably be gone. I mean, that's just football.
So just a couple of things, right? Trent, I don't think Trent will leave, just like Jerry said. But to say that there's no chance of him leaving and that the project at Real Madrid to Trent won't be as attractive. I don't think it's necessarily might not be as attractive right now, but I can see him. Like if I was Trent, I'm just being purely of I'm a Liverpool fan through and through. Been a Liverpool fan all my life. I'd love to. If I was a footballer, I'd love to play for Liverpool. But I would also love at some point, because I lived abroad, I studied abroad, I did all that kind of stuff. That was a great experience for me. He's gonna to have that opportunity, and to have that opportunity, arguably the biggest club in the world, as well as being a hero in your hometown club and having played there for a significant portion of your career. That's got to be attractive to somebody, because it's understandable if he was to say at 27, 28, you know what? I've loved playing for Liverpool, but I just want to try something a little bit different. I want to go this,
which would make
biggest
sense.
team in the world want me. Yeah. More about other players leaving. I've kind of been saying this for a while, right? This is what concerns me most about any manager coming in, and not just any manager coming in, Klopp, but the big test for FSG now and for the new manager, because I know we've talked a lot about Klopp 2.0, but the cornerstone of this Liverpool team has been Van Dijk, Alisson, Mo Salah. They have been the three most important players in this Liverpool team. Salah has a year left in his contract. I think Virgil has a year left in his contract, and Alisson has 2 years. I can see a scenario, again, similarly, I can see a scenario where Virgil will say, you know what, I've given 6 or 7 years to Liverpool, great years, we've been right at the top. You know what, I could go on a free to Barcelona at the end of next season. Alisson, similarly, maybe he's that's probably arguably his last big move. Barcelona, maybe they were, or somebody else, maybe Real Madrid or somebody else go and play. He played in Italy. He might even go and play for Inter. Who knows, Mo? But I can see them wanting a final hurrah at another big club somewhere else. Those are three huge pieces. I hope they don't leave. But I know I can only speak from my own perspective. If that, after playing at such a high level and playing for a great club, maybe I'll think, you know what, I'll go and do what was similar to what Lewandowski did, right? Lewandowski, he was a hero at Bayern, achieved everything he needed to, but then he thought, you know what, let's go and do 2 or 3 years at Barcelona and shut my career down. That's got to be attractive because he's not English either, and he's none of them are English, and none of them are Liverpool fans necessarily. Those are going to be 3 pieces that I'm really scared about losing, because the drop off, not just for us, but the drop off anywhere in world football is crazy. Who do we go for? We need to find someone who's like the next Alisson, someone who's like the next Van Dijk. That's incredibly
Edwards will
It won't be the next Van Dijk. Can I say something before we go on? I actually believe that if I'm looking at this, the only one that I would say that might not leave unless it's Saudi Arabia is Mohamed Salah. I don't think Mohamed Salah goes to Barcelona or Real Madrid and all this stuff. Not Alisson. Alisson might go.
Alisson has 3 years left though, so that isn't.
Yeah, but he might be sold. You know what I mean? He might be like 50 million, 60 million. My point, what Arak is saying, he's Brazilian. He might want to go to play for Barcelona or for Real Madrid like the other ones. Or Real Madrid have Courtois. Courtois has torn his meniscus, just for you people to know, after coming back from ACL. So Courtois' career is still to be seen. I'm not saying that he's going to leave. My point, I'm not saying that Alisson and Van Dijk will leave, but I believe Mohamed Salah has created for him a stature at Liverpool that he won't leave unless it's Saudi Arabia, and he's going to become the face of that league as an Egyptian, as an Arab guy. You know what I mean? I don't see Mohamed Salah going to Barcelona or Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. I don't see that. I don't see him doing a money. You know what I mean? I don't see that happening. I think unless Liverpool gets a lot of money this season, Mohamed Salah might sign even a new contract with Liverpool.
Do you think he'd go to PSG because the links there?
Mohamed Salah?
Nah.
I don't I
don't know why he would.
I think it's Saudi Arabia or nothing. I have a feeling.
The only
Rams, you're absolutely right.
What is it about Mo? What does it mean what does it mean to be the face of the Saudi Arabian league?
Egypt is the biggest country. I'm going to tell you.
But on a global scale, what does that mean?
I'm going to tell you. Number one, Mohamed Salah is 30-something years old. Egypt is the biggest country around. We have 110 million people. The money for broadcasting that will come to this league, yes, he is in Egypt, is someone who's adored and stuff. But the Egyptian people actually Some of them don't like Mohamed Salah as much as you guys think because of the national team achievements. That's a big thing. I had to fend off for him a lot on WhatsApp groups with my Egyptian guys, right? They cuss him, they don't like him because of what he did, right? Him going to Saudi Arabia and being the face of Egypt in Saudi Arabia and all the stuff will get him closer to the Egyptian people. The people, him playing in Saudi Arabia will get him closer to the Arab countries in terms of like, I play in Saudi Arabia. I believe that's what's going to happen. I actually believe that.
But on a global scale, Mohamed Salah.
It won't mean anything. It won't mean anything.
I wouldn't say that, Mo, because I'd say Salah's got a big reach when it comes to the rest of the world outside of Saudi Arabia, outside of the Arabian nations.
No one. Is anyone watching? Has anyone watched a game in the Saudi Arabian League?
I haven't. I've never watched a game.
But maybe for someone like
on
him,
a global scale, I can understand regionally in the MENA region that there may be interest, but on a global scale, I don't think there's his reach will diminish.
I agree. I don't think his reach is like Ronaldo's or Messi's. If they were to go to the Saudi Arabia League, you'd just get eyes on there.
He wouldn't need that, guys. He would only need the Arab world, the 300 million people in the Arab world. That's a lot of people, guys.
But
a lot of people.
Regardless of where he goes, ultimately speaking, we're talking about the back end of the cycle of at least two of those three players, right? I mean, regardless of what you think, Virgil van Dijk, age catches up to everyone. Yes, he's elite right now, but are you gonna sit here with a straight face and tell me that at 36 years old he's going to be doing the same exact thing? Maybe with Mohamed Salah, you could make the excuse, well, you know what, with the right system, if we could just get it to where he's just a creative outlet and he's only dinking in tap-ins, right? But ultimately speaking, no matter what, in the next 3 years, we're not going to see these people together, right? A piece is going to go in some direction.
Yep.
And the solace that I have is that we've brought the person back into the club who was the architect behind these three people even being there in the first place. And as a sports fan of anything, you understand that everything works in cycles, right? Like you look at something like Manchester City, or you look at Pep in any era that he is, or any great team in any era, players cycle through, right? It's very rare to have a player in a team being the star for 8 seasons for anything outside of American sports. Like here in America, like we're very microcosm, right? Because all of our sports, there's so few people out there that can actually do it. There's only so many 7-foot guys who can take a 3-point and also dunk a basket and act like a point guard. You know what I mean? But when it comes to football, there's so many players because of how much bigger the sport is, right? And so ultimately speaking, at some point or another, we're going to have to get rid of these players and bring in new blood, because that's just the nature of the game. I don't want it to be this season, but if Michael Edwards sits there and he thinks I could get 150 for Mo, and I have 5 or 6 different people out there in a different system that I think this could work in, all of a sudden my perspective is going to change, because I think that most of the stuff with the player, I don't feel like I can confidently answer until I know who my manager is. Like, is it Amorim or is it Xabi Alonso? Because Mo works so well in Jurgen Klopp's system, right? But when you take him, like as well as many other players, right? Like Klopp gets a certain tune out of players, and so do other managers with their own players. And then you see them go to other teams, and all of a sudden they're not the same, right? So is Mo, tuned right to Xabi Alonso? Is he tuned right to Amorim? Like, are either of these guys going to play with their primary striker as a right winger? If the answer is no, then it makes sense that we would sell Mo for cash now, go out there and get the type of wingers that he wants. I don't know if any of the players match the long-term vision of Xabi Alonso. I'm sure some of them do. I mean, Alisson, a goalie is a one-size-fits-all, right? Trent, surely. Van Dijk, surely, right? Midfield, maybe we can make some arguments for some players. Trent? I'm talking about when it comes to just overall how you could manipulate him into the system. Mohamed Salah, I feel like, is much more specific than Trent Alexander-Arnold. But regardless, the only point here I'm trying to make is that I can't give an accurate representation of how I'll feel about it until I know who our manager is and what kind of system it is, because that's the most important piece to the future of this club, and that will tell us who we need to sell and who we need to buy. And I'm happy that Edwards is in, because that's someone who's the architect of the whole thing. And without him, I would be feeling much worse.
I think these guys that we brought in, like as in Salah, Van Dijk, Alisson, I can guarantee you for a fact, none of us were saying they're going to be the best in their position at the time. Mo Salah wasn't touted as being the best right winger. Van Dijk was, people were labeling as a waste of money because of 75 mil for a centre back. That's crazy.
The Dutch Chris Smalling is the best one.
A Dutch Chris Smalling and stuff like that. And Alisson, people weren't labeling, people were saying that he's nowhere near the level of like a Courtois or someone like that. So what Mike says, and especially the Michael Edwards factor, is such a big thing because he was the guy that recommended Salah over Brand, recommended Mane over Goetze, recommended Alisson to be signed, nothing more. And these are the kind of things that we need to have back, because I think we sort of lost our way a little bit when it came to him leaving the football club, and we started to sort of wing it in a sense where we've had some hits, but we've had some really bad flops as well.
We also hold on to players for way too long, and that's another thing that Edwards would not have done that. If Edwards were at this club, Henderson would have been gone before the beginning of last season. Midfielders would have been bought after we fell short against Real Madrid. Defenders would have been bought, or midfield. We would have had more continual investment, and we would have been offloading more people.
Mike, isn't that one of the reasons why apparently he left? Because there was a disagreement on the Henderson and Milner.
Because Klopp is very loyal. Yeah, because listen, if we could go back. The thing that upset me the most throughout the last 5 years was the Wijnaldum. Like, that made no sense to me. I have no idea why we sold him. I know that he didn't pan out at PSG because of the injury, and injuries or whatever. But he was in great form, and you're going to tell me that of those two, you're going to get rid of Wijnaldum over Henderson. You're going to get rid of technical skill over legs. It's just not
only that. When you talk about legs, Wijnaldum was a player that just played every single game. He was never injured. That doesn't make any sense. He had the legs. That's when you're talking about basing it on legs.
Super chats, and then because I have another question. Prize is saying the Jerry James Waffle Show. Since club announcement, you can argue our performance has even got better. Played 14. 1-11, lost 2, draw 1 in all competitions. Plus, we lost our key players due to injury, AFCON and Asian Cup. Jerry James Waffle Show.
Yeah, let me waffle a bit more.
I don't think you have said anything.
Let me waffle a bit more.
Just keep the super chat
coming. His opinion. He's giving his opinion.
No. Go ahead.
Thank you. Obviously, thank you for the donation. We appreciate it. And I'm not going to talk about. I did say it gave us momentum. It's the timing of the momentum, but you probably didn't catch that. But thank you for the donation anyway. Appreciate it. Keep on coming.
Jerry James Waffle Show. Down.
Thank you, Price, for the super chat. It's as simple as, I don't think anybody have said that the performance has dropped. We just said that the pressure is on. This is it. Honesty. Hortensia saying, Trent himself said, I can see myself staying at Liverpool my entire career. Bro, I've heard that 50,000 times in my life. I'm 39 years old. I've heard that from a lot of players in my lifetime.
I mean, Zanetti said it, didn't he? Zanetti said it, didn't he, Mo?
But listen, we don't even know what happens if the next manager comes in and like Trent just doesn't get along with him. Then what? What do you want him to stay at Liverpool and not get along with the manager?
The difference is Trent is very special. Trent is a very special player. I believe Trent is so talented that you have to. He's so good that you have to adapt your style and system to accommodate him. And if a new manager isn't willing to adapt, Trent is gonna be lost unless Trent evolves.
But that's the point, isn't it? Is that of course Klopp looked at it and said, with our fullback, that's the area we're willing to go and kind of base our team around in terms of, especially from an attacking standpoint, whether it's him being out wide and delivering crosses or now coming inverted. An next manager might come in and say, no. I need my number 6s and the number 8 to be the center and the focal point of the team. And then in that situation, what happens with Trent? If Trent's not as influential, can you now keep him just as a stereotypical right back? It's the whole conversation you have again. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the players.
Let me just finish. I love this club more than anything else. Also, Trent's dream is to become a Liverpool captain. He will become Liverpool captain. But think about Trent, and it's a scary thing, right? When Real Madrid call for a Galactico, they freaking get him. They collect him. They put them together. You know what I mean? I've seen it 2 times in my lifetime. My problem is there is no other right back in the world that is outstanding. I don't see
But also,
anyone
I think
that is as good as Trent.
I think this Real Madrid Galactico team that they're assembling is also a bit different than the Galactico team that they assembled previously. That was some huge names, but this team has they're all a similar age group. They have more coherence. You can see with Bellingham and with Vinny and these guys coming
There's
together.
Mbappe, there's Haaland.
It works.
Yeah,
It works.
just feels
That's
like there could be some synergy there as well. So I hope it doesn't happen, but you know, I can understand.
You could argue there's a synergy. You could argue there's a synergy between Bellingham and Trent already.
Oh,
you got the Instagram posts.
Listen,
no, JJ, no.
Future-wise,
no one thought they would sign Figo. They did. No one thought, oh, you're gonna follow Figo with Zidane. Probably some of you aren't old enough. They did. No one thought they would follow that with R9. They did.
Yeah.
No one thought they would follow that with Beckham. They did. Owen. They did.
it could happen, Mo.
Bro, guys, they did everybody said, oh, this is it, and they did.
They didn't even do it with Totti though.
Listen,
They couldn't. Totti, they couldn't. Gerrard, they couldn't.
Mbappe. Okay,
they rejected.
If you really want to get like down to brass tacks here, they didn't get Mbappe. Mbappe restructured his PSG deal. He is ultimately going there, but that's 2 years after the fact, right? Like, I'm not saying that Trent is never going to leave the club.
Trent is not Mbappe.
I was only trying to add something.
But yeah, go ahead.
But I wasn't comparing him. I was just saying
Mike,
that
it's a joke, Mike. Easy.
Real Madrid went after someone, they didn't get him. Ultimately, they will, right? Technically speaking, when Trent turns 29, you know, could he go to Real Madrid? Sure. I mean, when he turns 27, 28, could he be there? To me, right now, this season, everything, it doesn't make sense right now, today. In the future, it very well could. But when I said that logically it doesn't make any sense to me, I'm just saying that today, this season, going into next,
I'm not saying
it doesn't make sense. Unless we get like 100. If you offered me 150 million for Trent, then I think a conversation. Then I think a conversation can be had.
Bro,
yes,
nobody
yes.
150 million.
Look at Ravage had the negotiations here. Give me more.
This is my point.
A very important question, and I don't want to dwell on this question for a while. If the new manager comes in, how much patience do you guys have?
Funny.
I'm excited, no matter who comes in. To be fair, so I'm
actually kind of excited.
It's 2 years. Are you gonna be like Arteta project stuff? Are you gonna give like 4 years of patience without winning trophies?
No.
All right then.
No, that's going crazy.
See, now you are getting to the right point. 2 years. If you get Alonso and he doesn't win the league or the Champions League, 2 years. Yeah, he gets a Carabao Cup here or there. And you're scraping four, you're getting fours, you're getting Champions League.
I think it's dependent. I think it's dependent on what Liverpool do this season for me.
All right then. Very good.
Because if Liverpool go out and win the league, right, and then win the Europa League and end up with the Carabao Cup as well, clearly the squad is good enough to go and win. Especially considering, look, the next manager that comes in is going to want a bit of dough to go and purchase some new players, some additional players. So you'd look at that squad being a bit stronger. And it being off the back of obviously winning, the time's not going to be. I mean, he's not going to be privy to time. But if we look at the end of the season and we finish third, and it's just the Carabao Cup, and God forbid we don't win the Europa League as well in some alternate reality, then obviously I'd look at it and be like, well, we finished third and a Carabao Cup. Isn't that what United done last season? Then you've got to go and give the manager time, because it suggests to me that the club is still in a rebuilding process, but we've just kind of jumped the gun.
I thought it would be the other way. I thought if you win everything and Klopp leaves, you'll give the new manager time to build.
No.
I thought it would be the other way around. Logically, it would be the other way around.
No.
There's a happy medium.
Jerry just made perfect sense. Like we have the talent to compete. It's that simple. Like, I'm not going to buy into this narrative that the only reason why we're competing is because of Klopp. Because last year, the only reason why we sucked was because of Klopp. We were running a 4-4-2. The World Cup comes. We go back to the stupid 4-3-3, and we lose 3 straight games 3-0. Like, whose fault is that? The guy who's setting up the team, right? This team has talent, and I don't think that with the talent that you have on the team, plus the talent that could potentially come in, because when you bring in a new manager, you're going to have to buy players, that all of a sudden that's going to justify some sort of severe drop-off. Because right now, the drop-off between the top 3 and the next teams might very well be 10 points at the end of this season, which means that I don't think that a new manager coming in is going to justify us dropping off 10 points. That doesn't make any sense to me, logically speaking, or just when it comes to the actual talent that we have. But I think that no matter what happens, no matter what the results are, you have to give the next manager a baseline of 18 months. Like it's got to be 1.5 full seasons.
18 months?
No, baseline.
Baseline.
But Mo, I'm saying baseline. Like, I'm not even going to consider getting rid of the manager until that first full season and a half. Obviously, if we, go out there and we're like 10th next season for some reason, then I would change my tune.
No,
but I'm just saying that.
I was gonna say, Mike, I completely agree. Because when Jurgen Klopp first came in, we gave him that first full season. They obviously got Champions League football. And then we went into the second season. Questions were asked about him during halfway through the season because our defense is still very, very leaky. And then we end up getting Van Dijk and everything changed. We end up getting Champions League final and all that kind of nonsense. I give the exact same time for the manager coming in. 18 months is a good amount of period. For 1 year to get to know the team and make a claim in terms of the style of play that you're trying to build. And then the next 6 months is whether you're good enough to sort of challenge for the big trophies. I don't think that's a bad amount of time. I think that's a very good amount of time just to judge someone.
So what will happen is, as Liverpool fans, the Liverpool fan base will give any new manager time, unless you're Roy Hodgson.
Yeah,
you will get time.
Yeah.
What you need to show during that time is not necessarily elite. Go from first season win the league, but to some extent similar to Klopp. Although we are starting from a higher baseline, Klopp for the first few seasons there was always steady progress. First half season he came in, we got to the Europa League final, got to the Carabao Cup final. We lost them both, but there was signs that there was a bit of a style of play. First full season got to the Champions League. Second full season got to the Champions League final, lost in the final, got top four again. Third, we won the Champions League, got 1 point away from the Premier League. For the season after we won the Premier, there was consistent improvement until the season after we won the league. So as long as there's improvement, we will give him time. There are big pieces that need to be replaced, and that needs to be taken into account. And it's going to be a huge challenge. If you're saying we are losing one of the top 2 or 3 managers in the world, inevitably that the logical conclusion is that you're bringing in a manager who's worse than Jurgen Klopp, because we're not getting Pep Guardiola and we're not getting whoever else is the manager. So by default, you're saying that the manager you're going to get in is worse than Jurgen Klopp. So you would expect some kind of drop off. But maybe, who knows? Maybe they surprise us. Maybe he comes in and does better than expected. Maybe we hit the ground running and it's not that much of a turnaround, and we go from a Bill Shankly era into a Bob Paisley era. That's what we all want.
Could happen.
That's the crazy part of me that's thinking right now. That's the optimistic crazy part. I think
don't say it out loud. I said it out loud, Rob. Don't say it out loud.
No, there's a possibility where what we've had was great, but I think we can go on and do even better things. That's the crazy part of me that's thinking about it. And it's possible. I think it is possible. This is why I'm excited to see what happens.
Hope. That's the hope. That's why football fans are called fan is short for fanatic, right? We hope for the best.
If
unless
the new
you're a
manager
Chelsea
comes
fan.
in and does better than Klopp, would you say that Klopp has failed?
Oh no, let's not go there. Let's not go there. Mo. That is way too far over the line. That is way too far over the line. I think that the one universal truth here,
that's the logical question after that statement.
Okay,
no, it wasn't.
maybe, but the only universal truth when it comes to the new manager and next season is that I think that above all else, we can't have, like, I think that as Liverpool fans, you need to kind of like dissolve your expectations. You know what I mean? Because we're very much going into the unknown. Like, that's not to say that I don't want to win things and I don't want to be competing, but at the same time, I also don't want to, act like whoever's going to come in is going to automatically paramount Klopp, and all of a sudden we're going to be back to the top of the mountain, like a Greek god. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's important to give the manager time and to kind of just dissolve the expectations that we have under Klopp. Still, want things, but at the same time understand that it's not the most realistic or logical outcome, even though it could happen.
That's too philosophical, bro. If Jurgen Klopp finished third and the new manager comes in, chance for the league and win the league with the same squad, he's just done better. It's just
no. Mo. I wasn't even answering your question. I was just saying, like, in general, when it comes to the next season, we can't go in with the same expectations that we have under Klopp, because if we do, that's inevitably going to lead into a failure and into a losing mentality, right? Like
that's what you're talking.
We're literally starting off on a blank canvas. This is a completely new page, if that makes sense. But no, I don't think that it would discredit Klopp. If anything, it would just go to show that Klopp built the foundation for us to go higher, right? And you still have to appreciate the person that brought you there, because without Klopp, there could easily be an argument made that we never would have been in the position to win that league that season. So you're basically saying that all of a sudden I now have to give credit to the second guy in the relay race, right? Like, Usain Bolt is not the reason why Jamaica won the 4x4 every year, but he was an essential part of it, right? You needed the three runners before him to maintain a pace. Blake. Exactly. You needed all of those other runners to keep you in the race, so that Usain Bolt could run his 8-second 100-meter, and then you would win, right?
Is that even his name?
So hold on. So are you calling Klopp Johan Blake? You're calling Klopp Johan Blake and Bolt, whoever else Bolt.
No. All I'm trying to say is that if the next manager comes in and goes above and beyond expectations, we win the league, I'm not going to turn around and say that he's better than Klopp. I'm going to say that the foundation upon what he was able to propel himself with was based on what Klopp did. And without Klopp, whatever this next manager does is not possible. That would be like, only looking at the second turn for your whole life. Like, the first turn matters the most. It's the foundation that you build yourself on that allows you to reach certain heights, right? Because you're completely ignoring your entire past and you're just looking at the result.
The amount of talk he talked is literally it's literally convincing yourself. Yes, bro. This is a rebuild team. It's with one of the arguably the best manager around. He doesn't win the league. Xabi Alonso comes in, wins the league with the same team. He's unexperienced against Pep Guardiola and Arteta, who's getting one more year of experience. He has done better.
So let's hope that Klopp wins it this season.
If Inzaghi wins the league this season with Inter, he has done better than Antonio Conte.
But the thing is that without Conte, Inzaghi doesn't get the same result.
Well, yeah.
Hold on. Could you argue that? But then hold on. How far? But wait. But how far do we go back then? Because could you not then argue that without Brendan Rodgers,
don't you dare
do what he did? Because Bobby Firmino's and Bobby Firmino's not at the club, and Bobby Firmino's a massive part of the system.
Listen, Jerry. This is like, okay. I try to look at it.
Mike. You're trying.
Hold on.
No. It's so philosophical.
Mo, I'm not trying to do anything. All I'm trying to say is that, like, yes, in theory, you could continue to turn the page all the way back. I try to look at recency, right? Like, because we all have a recency bias, right? So I'm trying to look at, the last 8 years. Yes, an argument could be made that without Brendan Rodgers, Klopp wouldn't have been able to do the same things that he did. You could do the same thing, right? But I'm just talking about this specific transition. If we wanted to turn the page all the way back, we could go all the way back to the beginning of time and say, without this Englishman kicking a ball to that guy, they wouldn't have come up with the idea for the game. You know what I mean? But ultimately, we are where we are. And no matter what happens, even if we go and we win the next 4 straight Premier League titles, and all of a sudden we're just blowing everyone away, we're winning every trophy, we want a quadruple, none of that is possible without what Jurgen Klopp did and without him transforming us over the last 9 seasons. And whether or not you want to say he's a failure because he only won one of everything, well, that's one more of everything that almost every other club in this league. Because I didn't see Spurs winning anything. I didn't see Chelsea. Actually, Chelsea won a Champions League and a league title, but that's only 2 trophies, right? So,
bro,
you could.
If the guy wins the league for the first year, he already matched Klopp legacy in the Premier League, bro.
If that's how you want to view it, if that's how you want to view it, you can view it that way.
I can imagine headlines. I'm already writing titles for my videos.
If that's how you want to view it, you can view it that way.
No, but we could just rewrite history. Be like Klopp was the Shankly, and now the next manager's the Paisley. Simple as that.
I would be laughing from the top of the mountain because you know what? I'd say this is a great problem to have. This debate of who's the best. I'm holding the title. I'm the champion. I'm at the top of the road, and I get to bicker about stupid things like is Klopp's legacy really that great? I am the champion right now, but I need to ponder on something. You know,
maybe Xabi Alonso might be a little bit better. You know,
I'm not gonna stay for long, but anyway, this has been a very, very good show, to be honest. Unless someone else has anything else to say, very good Liverpool show. I hope that Liverpool at the end, I don't know who to win the title as long as it's not Manchester City. We know that.
And Arsenal.
Well, part of me, as a content creator, want to see the world burn. You know what I mean? So Arsenal winning will.
I don't want Amorim. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want Amorim.
For sure.
Xabi Alonso only.
Whoa, 1 minute.
Only Xabi Alonso.
I don't on the show, and Mike suddenly says that he doesn't want Amorim, one of the leading two contenders as manager.
Xabi Alonso or no one. I want Xabi Alonso. I don't want a manager.
This is going to be so. This is so stinky. This is going to be so stinky. I don't want Amorim because of Tom Little. I don't want him because of Tom Little. Tom Little is just going to be an arrogant, smug little prick when Amorim signs a Liverpool manager. I don't want that in my life. Thank you. Big up, Tom.
I just want Xabi. I want Xabi Alonso. I'm set on him.
You might
look at Martin. Apart from Manchester City, good luck tomorrow with us, Judge Mo. Tomorrow, I have a Manchester City show tomorrow. Only Manchester City people. Listen, I'm very I'm very honest about it. I just don't want Manchester City to win the league. Otherwise, it's going to be turning into a farmers' league. Because I believe with Klopp leaving next year, Manchester City will strengthen and will win it again.
Very possible.
It would be 5 in a row, people.
Very possible.
Oh, no. But
unless Xabi Alonso wins it. Unless Xabi Alonso wins it.
Deserve.
Anyway. Deserve. Oh my God! Imagine if Deserve goes to Liverpool.
I wouldn't be surprised. You heard about Richard Hughes, right? And the connection he's got with Deserve, and the fact that he really likes him. No, but you have to. It's not about that. But remember, if you've appointed a sporting director, they need to have a really, really good relationship, and they need to have an understanding. It can't be a situation where you have a Richard Hughes and you go with like a Mourinho or whoever, and they don't have a relationship. They don't look at football the same way. The types of players that Richard Hughes is scouting doesn't align with what Alonso wants or Amorim or whoever it is. They've got to have some sort of like synergy.
Hansi Flick.
The big look.
And Richard Hughes.
The biggest strength that when we were right at our peak, the biggest strength we had was that everyone was aligned. Klopp, Michael Edwards, the recruitment team, the players on the pitch. We were focused on a style of play, and everyone fitted that style of play. The recruitment was on point. That's when we were arguably the best run team in the world. And I think recruitment wise, certainly we kind of moved away from that a little bit. If whoever the next manager is, he has to be aligned with the sporting director, who has to be aligned with the recruitment strategy, and everybody needs to be working coherently together to make us as successful as possible. If we can do that, we'll be there.
With Edwards, I trust. In Edwards, I trust. I'm gonna have to copyright that. Put it on my dollar bill.
Tattoo that saying on your neck.
And Edwards, I trust. Regardless of who it is, I trust Michael Edwards, and he'll make the right decision. And I'm gonna have to back him because I'm kind of in a suicide seat per se. It is what it is. I'm strapped in. I'm ready to go.
I never trust anyone blindly ever.
I don't really think I have a choice right now. You know what I mean?
Probably.
Blind faith is the best faith.
Guys,
is the best one.
Can we get to 200 likes before we go? We're only 19 likes. Guys, hit that like button before we go. This will take you to Saad's stream. They're doing Tune of the Season with a fantastic panel. And hit that like button before you go. Let's get to 200 likes. Absolutely shit percentage of likes. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We're out.